The rapper NAS is being sued by a photographer for sharing a picture that he took of him and Tupac in 1993. Earlier on today, I saw a video of Snoop Dogg complaining about the fact that someone's suing Nas for sharing a photo of himself and another rapper on his social media, and that he should be able to share whatever pictures he wants of himself and not be sued for it, and that other people shouldn't be able to own his likeness or something to that effect. Snoop Dogg was pissed off about it. And there was a dumpster fire in the comments section about freedom of speech, freedom of the press, rights in public places, rights in private places, all that stuff. So I looked up an article myself, and the article that I found was on Hip Hop DX. It said Nas shared this photographer's picture of him and Tupac in 1993 without permission or licensing the work. It was uploaded to his personal Instagram account in 2020, 3 years after the copyright was registered for the image. And it also noted that this photographer had previously filed a lawsuit against Kylie and Kendall Jenner for an unlawful use of photographs that he took of Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. because the Jenners attempted to use that photo as part of a clothing line. I feel like I heard about this a few years ago. And in the case of the clothing line one, I fully agree and understand why he sued, because he took a picture and then they used it in a clothing line, but if they didn't license it, then it's not really theirs to use. So in that case, I would assume that neither the photographer nor Tupac or Notorious B.I.G. said it was okay to use, obviously Tupac can't do that, to use that picture. But in the case of Nas sharing the photo on, like, it's a picture on his personal Instagram account, and the picture was taken outside of a nightclub in a public space in 1993. It was okay for him to take that picture, theoretically, because there's no reasonable expectation of privacy in a public space. People can film and do whatever they want. It's the same law that protects freedom of the press, and the same law that allows you to film cops in case they do something wrong and that you can hold them accountable for. As I understand it, I am not a lawyer and none of this should be considered legal advice. I am just a photographer that makes videos and puts them on the internet who has a hoarse voice today for some unknown reason. And before I go much further with this, if you know this case and you have any idea of the legalities of it, drop me a comment, let me know, and let other people know how you think this is going to pan out or how it should pan out, or like what section of the law this sort of falls under, because I think it's kind of a mishmash of copyright and editorial and commercial and sharing online and all that sort of stuff. In the world of street photography, which is the only area that I have any sort of idea of what I'm talking about with legality, is that in a public place, I can take pictures of random people and those images belong to me. However, those people's likeness don't belong to me, and if I want to sell those images commercially or for anything, any sort of advertising purpose, you need people's permission for that. So the commercial use of it is required. Now, I don't think Nas sharing a picture on his personal Instagram would necessarily count as commercial use. If it's personal use, there might be a different story there. However, if the picture is saved on Getty Images and that's some sort of registered copyright, then in that case maybe you can't just share the picture as you want because it's registered as a copyright in Getty Images. But in order to register the copyright of a picture, surely you need the model release because Getty Images might sell it commercially. And that I don't think they're allowed to do, but you can upload pictures of anybody or anything and put it on stock websites as news or editorial, and you don't need permission then if it's used in that. So hopefully my understanding of that is correct, and I have no idea where this picture's going to fall under, because if it's copyright under Getty Images, people should be allowed to use it for newsworthy stuff, but maybe it has to be bought from Getty Images to be shared, or somehow shared with a watermark on it. But this is kind of a crazy sounding thing, like it's essentially a street photograph, like a paparazzi photograph. I feel like the photographer should allow that photo to be shared, but that's just my opinion, and that doesn't make any difference to this whole situation. And I think that a photo of the person in a public place, while the photographer can obviously still have the copyright to that photograph, I think Nas should probably have the right just to share that because it's a picture of him. And I think he has the right to his own likeness. Now, you could maybe argue the fact that there's other people in that picture and maybe he doesn't have the right to share their picture, but again, it was taken in a public place. Now, I don't really know what the answer to this is. Obviously, this photographer has filed it because he believes that there's some validity in that lawsuit being filed, and I'm sure his lawyers feel that way as well. And obviously, and it seems like Nas is going to court to fight it, and obviously him and his lawyers think there's some validity in what they're doing as well. I'm not sure which is better for the photography community. I think it's probably better that NAS wins and he can share that photo, and that other photographer can still also have that picture on Getty Images and it can be sold to news outlets to use. But people just sharing it casually on Instagram, like I've seen hundreds of people sharing pictures by Magnum photographers. Those pictures are owned by those photographers and the Magnum photo agency, but I'm not seeing people have blowback from that. And maybe it's just a case of crediting the artist or something like that, but those pictures are still owned by those photographers at Magnum. So are we allowed to share them in a more casual environment rather than a news environment or editorial environment or something like that? I don't know what the answer is, but I'm interested to know what other people think. If anyone has any better idea as to how this actually stands with regards to the law and who is in the right here, drop me some comments down below. I'm definitely interested in this and want to keep an eye on how this court case progresses. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Maybe set up like a Google notification or something. But that's it. I wanted to make this quick video acknowledging that this thing was happening. I'm interested in it and seeing how it pans out. Thank you very much for watching. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.